Welcome to Story Harbinger, where every story brings a new perspective to life. Let's dive into today's tale. Once upon a time, in a peaceful village surrounded by rolling hills, there lived a boy named Max. He was curious, kind-hearted, and always ready for a new adventure. But there was one thing Max struggled with. Whenever he faced something difficult, he would quickly give up. Max wasn't the fastest runner, and no matter how much he practiced, he always seemed to finish last in the village races. His classmates, who ran effortlessly, would tease him, "Max, you're too slow. You'll never catch up." Each time he heard those words, Max's heart sank. He'd tell himself, "I can't do this," and walk away discouraged. One afternoon, as Max sat under the old oak tree, watching his friends race by, his grandmother passed by and saw him sitting alone. She noticed the sadness in his eyes and sat down beside him. "What's bothering you, Max?" she asked gently. Max looked up at her, feeling defeated. "Grandma, I just don't think I'm cut out for running. No matter how hard I try, I can never win the race." Grandma smiled kindly and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Max, do you know the power of the word, yet?" Max looked puzzled. "Yet? What do you mean, Grandma?" She leaned in and told him a story. Imagine a small seed buried deep in the soil. Small, fragile, and doesn't look like much. But that seed knows it isn't a failure. It's just not a tree yet. Every day, it pushes its roots deeper, reaching toward the sunlight. It may not be big right now, but over time, it becomes strong and tall. That seed knows that failure is simply the beginning of growth. It's not the end. It's just not there yet. Max thought about this for a moment. "So, I'm not failing? I'm just not there yet." Grandma nodded. "Exactly. Every time you try something new, and it doesn't work out, remember that it's not the end. It's part of your journey. You're growing, learning, and getting closer to your goal." The word, yet, holds the promise of progress. Max felt something shift inside him. He had always seen failure as the end of the road. But maybe, just maybe, it was simply part of the process. The next day, Max decided to practice for the race with a new mindset. Instead of focusing on how fast his friends were, he focused on improving his own speed one step at a time. Each time he felt tired or frustrated, he reminded himself, "I'm not fast yet, but I'll keep trying." Days passed, and with each run, Max grew stronger. He noticed that he could run a little faster each day, his strides longer and his breathing more controlled. Although he still wasn't the fastest, he didn't feel defeated. He was learning, improving, and getting better. Yet star. Finally, the day of the race arrived. Max stood at the starting line, feeling the usual flutter of nerves. His friends lined up beside him, confident and ready. Max took a deep breath and remembered his grandmother's words. "I'm not there yet, but I will be." The race began with a burst of energy. Max ran as fast as he could, pushing himself further than he had before. His legs felt heavy, but he didn't stop. Each step was a small victory. He was no longer thinking about winning the race. He was thinking about how much he had improved since the last time. The finish line was in sight, and although Max wasn't the first to cross, he had never felt prouder. He had run faster than he ever had before, and that was enough for him. He had proved to himself that persistence was the key. Not giving up, not letting setbacks define him. It was the power of yet that had carried him through. As Max walked away from the race, his friends came up to him, surprised. "You've gotten so much faster, Max," one of them said. Max smiled, a sense of pride in his heart. "Thanks. I'm not the fastest yet, but I will be one day." Max had learned something more important than winning. He had learned that growth doesn't happen overnight. It's the willingness to try, fail, and keep going that makes all the difference. And with each challenge, he reminded himself that he wasn't failing. He was just not there yet. From that day on, whenever Max faced a difficult task, he smiled and added the word, "yet," to his thoughts. "I can't do this yet," he would say, and then keep going, knowing that with time and effort, he would get there. And so, Max's journey continued, full of challenges, growth, and the steady belief that with persistence and the power of yet, anything was possible. Thank you for watching. For more inspiring and heartwarming stories, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Story Harbinger. See you in the next tale.